another edition of the program Headlines Nigeria, reaching you from Internet Television International Studios in Abuja. I am Grace Ukot with summaries of news making the headlines from our national dailies. Join me as we take a look at the papers for today. Nigerian Compass power generation hit 3,804 megawatts. The country at the weekend achieved a new power generation level of 3,804.3 megawatts with the highest energy generated at 84,482.25 megawatts per hour. And in this day newspaper, promotion exam, civil servants sue Oronsanye. Workers under the aegis of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria have filed a suit against the federal government, saying the head of civil service of the federation, Mr. Steve Oronsanye, lacks the power to ask them to write competency and pre-qualification tests scheduled to begin today. And in Punch newspaper, post-amnesty, 2 ex-militants caught with drugs escape expulsion. 2 of the ex-militants undergoing rehabilitation at a federal training camp in Obubra local government area of Cross River State, have escaped expulsion from the program after being caught with illicit drugs. Still in Punch newspaper, 2 policemen, AC Aspirant, die in Ekiti violence. A member of the Action Congress in Ekiti State, Mr. Kunle Ayaga, and 2 policemen died on Sunday in the violence that rocked Ilawe, Ekiti State. Punch correspondent learned that Ayaga, who was aspiring to a seat in the State House of Assembly, was allegedly shot dead on Sunday by a policeman while the people of the town were celebrating the Ogun Festival. Other news headlines include Punch newspaper, drama as task force arrests ex-director call girls. And in next newspaper, we see minister, copyright boss meet on piracy. Daily Independent, presidency set to scrap PHCN. Moving over to politics, next newspaper, every vote will count. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega, has told Zimbabwean soldiers that he will ensure every vote counts in the 2011 elections. Nigerian Compass, 12 governors set to defect from PDP. As a sledgehammer of Dr. Okwesili Ezenwodo, the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, over some state executive committees moves to the South-South, 12 governors are already strategizing to leave the 12-year-old party. Vanguard newspaper, 2011, Jonathan woos Emirs. Consequent upon the support of the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, for zoning with the Northern Political Leaders Forum secured recently, President Goodluck Jonathan has also been courting some emirs with a view to securing their support for next year's presidential elections. Other political headlines are Daily Independent, Jonathan under pressure to rig 2011 election, CPC. Still in Daily Independent, PDP will back performing governors in 2011. And next newspaper, opposition parties worry over incessant defection. And in business news, next newspaper, shareholders unhappy with Okereke Onyeke Dangote sack. The Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria at the weekend faulted the decision by the Securities and Exchange Commission to sack the Nigerian Stock Exchange Council, describing it as a hasty action calculated to cover up her inept regulatory inadequacies. Banks' declining earnings worry experts. Finance experts have noted that the declining earnings of banks are not reassuring for an industry seeking to regain the confidence of customers and investors. And in Punch newspaper, new NCC boss to focus on affordable tariffs. Newly appointed Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Eugene Juwa, has pledged to complete the projects and programs initiated during the tenure of his predecessor, Mr. Ernest Ndukwe. Other business headlines in our dailies are Punch newspaper, credit squeeze, new car sales drop, Tokumbo booms. Next newspaper, stock exchange records 207 billion naira gain in July. And in this day newspaper, we see federal government retreats as neck crisis stalls power sector reform. And in sports, Nigerian Compass, Eyimba win Super 4. 6 times Nigeria Premier League champion Eyimba International Football Club of Aba yesterday won its second trophy at the Gateway International Stadium, Ijebu-Ode, with the game in hand at the just concluded Super 4. Eyimba was billed to face Kano Pillars in the last game of the Super 4, but the People's Elephant was spared the trouble of having to worry its head after Kwara United did them a favor of defeating Sunshine Stars of Akure. Kano to host Federation Cup final. Kano will make history on Sunday when it hosts its first ever Nigeria Cup final after the Nigeria Football Federation granted the Northern City the hosting rights of the Federation Cup ahead of Lagos. Daily Trust newspaper, Diko, I have the best program for Nigerian football. NFF presidential aspirant Mr. Shehu Diko has said among those who are vying to lead Nigeria football, he has the best program which, if allowed to implement to the letter, would transform Nigeria football in no time. Other sports headlines include Vanguard newspaper with shocks for Falconets. And in next newspaper, we see Eyimba remain invincible. Punch newspaper, NFF, Odegbami Obaseki won state FA elections first. And with this, we wrap up today's edition of the program. Have a wonderful Monday. Thanks for logging on.